everybody, my name is Elise Wong and today I'm going to share with you my first experience with Faber-Castell's Aquarelle Graphite series. If you'd like to check out my intro to sketching playlist, you can click on that pop-up card in the right hand corner so you can check that out. Faber-Castell Aquarelle series is rather unique in the sense that you can actually use water and a brush to blend seamlessly as opposed to using a blending stump. The results are beautiful and rather interesting because it has that watercolor finish to it. So this is what I made for this tutorial. It is my first time using, so all you see is my first time reaction. In summary, I really like this and I recommend it. I only used two pencils, so it's actually very cheap and convenient if you guys want to check it out. However, the rules are a little different. I don't think you can actually erase what you've done once you let the water set in. And if I'm not mistaken, I think 8B is the darkest, so to be honest, if I had a option, I would like it just a little bit darker to have more contrast. Personally, I would go with a darker color pencil such as Polychromos Black or Derwent Ivory Black. Those are really dark colors. But this is up to personal preference, so it's up to you and see if you like it. That's all for today. If you like this video, it will help if you hit that like and subscribe button and share it to your friends who you might think might find it helpful. I share videos, tutorials, and reference photos for free, so if you'd like to support me to help make all of this sustainable, you can help pledge over at Patreon. And thank you so much to my patrons who have supported me over the years. You guys really help beyond words. You can also join our Discord server if you'd like to join our wholesome community. You can get updates or whenever I go live on Twitch. All links are down below in the video description. That's all for today. Carry on to the video. Bye guys! Okay, today we are going to sketch this giraffe, but I think what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try this Graphite Aquarelle series by Faber-Castell. When I started sketching, I bought these and I was like thinking, yeah, I don't know why it's more expensive, but maybe it has better blending. So I just bought it. But the term aquarelle usually is meant for watercolors. So it kind of got me interested into seeing what it can do. I know Faber-Castell, their color pencil series had this special feature where you can color it with your color pencils and then you take a wet brush and you blend it, and the blending is like watercolor. So I guess it's the same concept, which it was. I did see a tutorial on YouTube about well, not really a tutorial but an experience by this artist on how she used it, and it was really interesting. She had like a range from HB to 8B, but all she did was she only used HB, 4B, and 8B, which seems kind of, I think, suitable because I only literally have HB and 8B. So today we are just going to use just two pencils, and I'm really curious to see what the outcome is. And today we're gonna use a giraffe. Today, this giraffe is actually my own reference photos that I take from the zoo. So if you follow me on Patreon or Discord, you can actually find this reference photos on there as well. Yeah, we're gonna just use two pencils, which is kind of daunting. So I think we're gonna try. Now, usually when I sketch, I get very bold in where to go for the darkest dark. But we also have to take into consideration the fact that this is also watercolors. So we are going to start off with the lighter parts first and not be so bold. So we're just going to use HB, and we are going to just lightly add in. So I'm just going to add in where the lighter parts I think would be suitable. I'm not going to touch the 8B just yet. don't know how the effects will work, but I'm gonna start doing places I feel comfortable with, and then I'm going to use the brush and water and see how it goes. Okay, I'm gonna already put some shading where I think is necessary. I dipped my pencil in paper, so just to let you, I forgot to mention that I'm actually using a, oh wow, this is actually really nice. Wait, let me see. Let me get that paper. I'm actually using Artistico Traditional White Aquarello Watercolor, 100% cotton and 300 GSM. So this is actually really nice, the way it's blending. And it's surprisingly darker. Even like HB is really light, but once you let it touch water, it actually gets a little darker. Which is good. But you also gotta know how to use the darkness of it. The blending is really good. Quite impressed. Kind of, it's like watercolor with pencils. Who would have thought? This is very interesting because if you want like a very seamless transition or blending, it's actually really good. Now, I hear that the downside of this is that you have to wait for the paper to completely dry because you can't really use the pencils on top of the paper when it's wet. It won't make much of a difference, and you could also probably damage the paper. So there's a little bit of cons involved as well. So I will wait. Wait, yeah. I'm so... Patience is so not my strong suit. So I have a hair dryer with me on hand. You know. Just always ever ready. Always the scout. I would probably have to redo my spots. I did the outline for the giraffe spots, but you know, you can see that it's slowly disappearing. It's very interesting. So imagine that it's already looking much darker than before, and this is only HB. Haven't even started on the 8B yet. Can you imagine? You know, the fact that it's water, it does make me question the fact whether I can erase my efforts later. I highly doubt it. Because if I, you know, looking at it from two different two different mediums of pencil and watercolor, you cannot erase watercolor. So I don't think we can undo it if, like, for example, we make a mistake. However, I will experiment and see if we can erase it. See what happens. I don't think they have any mechanical lead in the form of aquarel, because I would really want to do detail work that I usually do. I think I would probably have to do that like towards the end of the finished piece. So this is looking very, very nice. I am blending. Well, sorry, I'm working on this piece slower than I usually do because this is my first time diving into the medium. So I'd like to understand the flow of it. I don't have to use that much water either, but then again, I'm using 100% cotton, so it's very absorbent in the for the water. Okay. Gonna add a little bit more. Oh wait, this 8B. Where's my HB? Oh, there it is. Gonna add a little bit more shading here. Now this area of the paper is dry, that's why I can have the liberty of adding a little bit more. And I want just a little bit, just a little. I realized that since the water makes it much darker, add just a very ginger touch to it. Alright, I am liking it though. Alright, now that I know how it functions, I'm going to add a little bit darker tones to where I feel more comfortable. But I mean, looking at the blending results is very impressive. I am happy with it. Alright, I'm taking an 8B. Yeah, this part here is a lot darker than I thought it would be. I mean, I knew it would be darker, I just didn't expect. Okay, wait, let's try. If I take an eraser, can I actually lift up? Make it lighter. Yeah, it's not very effective. It's not doing much. I think because, you know, once you put in the water, it has set and dried in the paper already. So this has to be done with lots of forethought. So now I'm kind of building up. We're gonna have to build layers for this. So it's definitely, if you have experience with watercolor and pencils, then you kind of know what to do. Well, when it comes to pencils, you can always have an eraser, but when it comes to watercolor, Haha, there is no turning back. You really have to decide what you're gonna do about it. So once it's done, once you lay it on, you're gonna lay it on thick and you cannot go back. Talk about life regrets, right? Okay, I know here is gonna be really dark, so here I'm gonna make it a little bit darker because I know here is gonna be quite dark given the lighting. Here's the nostrils. I don't know how dark it's gonna get, but also from what I heard, you can actually build it up. So I think that's very interesting. Most of the darkness will definitely come from the spots, but we are just doing the underlying sketches, underlying shading, because even though the spots will, like, you know, cover up most of it, you still have to color the bright parts. It still has shading, so you can't ignore that. Now I'm looking at the reference photo, like the neck looks very, very bright, and I don't like that because there's like so much shading going on in the face, and then the neck is like so bright and almost two-dimensional because the lack of lighting, like lack of shading. So I'm just gonna add a little bit darker parts of my own. You know, again, it's a reference photo, so you don't have to follow it. You don't have to follow every stroke, every pattern. It's just something you reference to. Okay. I'm still kind of unsure, so I'm just gonna slowly do this. Let's see how this goes. I quite like the sudden darkness. It suddenly goes so dark. Holy shit. Oh god, you got to be really careful now. This has gone much darker than I thought it would be. It's much darker than I thought. Oh wow. Okay, so I took out my mechanical pencil because I got really annoyed that I can't do certain detail work. So I just want to make sure I'm like doing this right. So things like here, I want to make this a little. It's looking very blurred around the edges, and usually when that happens, I like to take a mechanical pencil and just sharpen the edges so it looks cleaner that way. So, yep. Now, I'm gonna use the 8B again. There are parts that are very, very dark. So I'm gonna try and add to that. Use the sharpest edge of my pencil here. But I realized that the mechanical pencil is just 2B. It's quite hard to go above that. Gonna build up a little bit more around this area. I don't like that the neck looks so bright. But I mean, there really isn't going on. The neck looks very cylindrical, so there isn't really much I can do about that. I'm gonna add a little bit more HB below the nostrils to add some more shading. Just a little bit, not too much. I think I am actually getting. I don't think I can do any more in terms of shading, so I might just start going on the spots. I think the spots are the one that has the most detail. It's quite hard to see because when I look at the reference photo, most of it I see are just spots. So I'm just trying to figure out how to work around it. So I'm just lightly shading here using the pencil. Just add a little bit here. And then I will use the water to just soften the blending later. Like right now it looks too white at certain parts, so I'm gonna kind of looks like a little overexposed. So I don't want that. I want it to look nicely exposed. Some here. Okay. I'm going to dip it in water and let's start blending again. Okay. Slowly blending in here. Okay. Alright. gonna start doing the spots, and I think I will use a HB. Because I'm not too sure how is this gonna go. But then again, we should do it an 8B, right? I'm gonna add maybe a little darker around here. Gonna add in all the spots now. I'm using a darker pencil, although I think I may have doomed myself by making some parts too dark that you can't undo with the 8B. I think that here maybe a little lighter. Some spots are also much lighter than others as well. It doesn't look so naked, does it? Once you add in the spots, it's starting to look more and more like a giraffe. To be honest, I don't have to follow it very closely to the reference photo. I can just put it anywhere, really. And I think it would still look more and more like a giraffe. So, don't have to be too precise. I feel like it's looking like a Dalmatian. I mean, it should look like a Dalmatian, right? Because of all the spots. Should do really little spots as well. Yeah, the spots will get generally bigger. But the face is always so intricate when it comes to all animals. tigers, leopards. Like the spots or stripes are like so small around the facial area. It gets much larger when you hit the body. After this, I will also use the water just to make the spots look a little softer. And also have to build it up, because if we could, let's make the spots darker in certain areas as well. Not all spots are equal in light. Though I tend to do that. Like tiger stripes, I tend to make it super dark. I shouldn't. But yeah. I think it's a very good way to start. If you want something that's cheap to dive into, like one pencil only costs like 6 ringgit. And I'm only using 2. This entire piece, I'm only using 2. I'm using 1 HB and 1 AB. So it is very economic if you want to give it a try. You just need 2 pencils, good paper, and water, and a paintbrush, and then that's it. So it's very interesting. Sometimes you just don't need the most expensive thing you can find in order to make good art. It definitely helps. Don't get me wrong. Better equipment definitely shows a difference. But if you're just starting out, you don't have to burn a hole in your wallet in order to start experiencing art. It's definitely nice when you see on Instagram so many people posting such talented stuff, and you're like, oh, I want to do something like that. Oh my god, why do I have to spend like so much money on this? But yeah, everybody starts from somewhere. You don't have to rush to get there. Sometimes when you rush, you miss out on all the beautiful things that's going on. I tend to feel that way when I'm doing photography. Like, I just want to take the next snapshot. I remember watching The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and then there was this part where the photographer just sits down and actually just take a moment to actually appreciate what he found. And I was like, oh wow. It's hard to feel like that when you just want to take a really good shot. Snap, 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 snap. Never actually slow things down to just take it all in and breathe. That's our world now. Always wanting to finish the rat race, be the best, like no one ever was. Maybe the last spot. I think it's starting to look more and more like a giraffe. Okay, next we are going to take some water, dip it in, and then make it, let it blend. You can see it gets much darker instantly. I still get very surprised each time. And I'm not sure if you can see through the camera, but you can actually see the texture of the paper on the spots that I colored. But once you add in the water, it just blends everything out. It's very impressive. Depending on how dark it is, I might have to build it up again. I have to look at it as a whole as well, because I want to see what are certain areas that needs to be darkened to increase contrast. At this point, I don't know if I want to do a background. I was thinking if I do a background, I would probably do like a bokeh. Because this is so wonderful if you do like a very blurred out background as well. Because the way it blends is so good. Okay. I feel actually, honestly, I feel that the blending of the water is too good. It's too good. Like the animal does not like there's no texture about it because the blending is so good. So I have to shade in some myself. So I'm gonna like shade some parts in, but I'm not going to do the water because I do want some texture in there. It's looking a little too flawless. So I'm just gonna add in some texture. Just gonna add in a little tiny bit of texture there. Just to satisfy my thoughts. I'm gonna shade a little bit here. And the lighter parts, I'm just gonna like just gingerly, ever so softly include that in for the texture. Okay, I am fairly satisfied with how it came out. I definitely need more experimentation with this medium. I feel like it's nice, but I there's something I can't put a pin on it. I feel like it's too good of a blending that I have to add my own my own texture. I might try different paper as well. I feel like it goes very well with this 100% cotton, but I'm not sure. I might try a lower percentage cotton, or maybe just normal sketching pad, and see where does that take us. So definitely gonna need a little bit more experiments to know what works best for this medium. So now, I think we can start with a bouquet background. So I'm looking at the reference photo, just gonna add like a couple of leaves here. And we'll start with just add this with a little bit of HB. We can start small again, like I said, just start off light. And we can slowly work our way up. It's like a little bit here and there as well, just adding little blobs in the background. Then we can go with our 8B. I think we can just sketch it in. I'm gonna use a bigger brush. Let me take a bigger brush. Yes, okay. Oof. I'm using a size 4. Or maybe a size 12. I think a size 12 would be good. We'll use a size 12. And we're just gonna sketch it in. Oops. Gonna go over the outline, but you know what? Whatever. It's a background. I could make it all black if I wanted to. Just go with the flow. Better be careful around the subject. Usually I would work with the background first, but I wasn't too sure how it would look like. The subject with this medium. So I really wanted to try the medium first on the subject, and then I was thinking maybe I'll change my mind later when I work with the background. Just see how it goes. Gonna sketch it a little darker, adding a little bit more pressure here. I'm actually super curious how this would go. I do not have the patience to actually draw everything and see how it'll turn out. I'm really curious and want to like wet the paper right now, but we'll have to see, because once you wet the paper, we'll have to wait for it to dry in order to build up again. But you know, if you're impatient like me, have a hair dryer on standby. Hair dryer works wonders. Even if you got no hair, it's still pretty useful. Okay, I'm really nervous how this looks like because it does not look flattering in the slightest. Let's if we add in the water. Look at that. Look at it coming together. This is... Every time when I apply water, it's very surprising, the results. It looks so much darker than what I laid on. I'm gonna take a smaller brush for the bouquet details. Okay, let's continue with the big brush. I'll probably have to do a second layer because you can see the watercolor as well. It's not very well blended. So probably have to go with several layers. One thing good though that when we're dealing with water here is also the fact that it absorbs a lot of water, and we can take a little bit of the abuse of the friction. Okay, at first glance, it is not looking like much. In fact, I'm feeling a little bit demotivated after the giraffe is looking pretty good, and then background is looking a little like that. But I'm just gonna keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully it will start looking a little better. Okay. Oops. Alright, I'm just gonna color the rest of the background and we'll see what happens. I guess I'm done. Just putting in the little finishing touches here. Okay. Just a little bit more. I don't know, I'm not really too satisfied just adding little details. I don't know if they're necessary details or kind of those that are over necessary. You don't really need them. Just adding details for the sake of details, you know? But I think it's working. I'm using my mechanical pencil. It's normal lead, not using special aquarelle lead.